Hello, I'm going to show you how I do my tourtières. First, we start with half pork, half beef. I've got 5 pounds of each here. It's got to be #1 meat. Got to be really good stuff. And then I'll put about 3 onions diced and a little bit of salt. And then I put potatoes in mine. So that's 3 baked potatoes diced. And the reason I put potatoes is because it eats up the fat and it adds substance to the tortillas. Okay, and I'll show you how to do the crust. The crust has to be made with 5 roses flour, all-purpose flour, and tender flake lard. Okay, tender flake lard, like that. Okay, so we have to put it in a bowl, follow the instructions on the tender flake, and I'll show you how I mix it in a minute. Wash your hands. I use dish soap. The reason I use dish soap is because I'm in the kitchen. If I was in the garage, I wouldn't use dish soap. How's that? Okay, so I cooked the meat with the onions, and it's almost ready cooked right now. So this is the time that I put the potatoes in. So I put the potatoes in. These are diced like so. Now if you're not able to dice potatoes, don't cook. Alright. So I'll let that go for about maybe an hour and a half before it's ready at very low temperature. Bon, ben ça s'en vient bien. Ça fait quasiment 1 heure que ça cuit. Alors il y a une belle consistance. Il y a un petit peu de gras dans le fond. Ça c'est correct parce qu'on va en mettre un peu dans la tarte. Okay, so it's coming along quite well. This has been cooking for about an hour, and maybe another half hour at least, or maybe more, until the meat is well cooked. So I put about 2 teaspoons of salt. I don't like to put too much salt because of my heart conditions, and probably everybody else. So not too much salt, and it's very simple. No spices at all. Very basic. Half beef, half pork, some onions, and some potatoes. Don't put too many potatoes in, and don't put too many onions in. You do it as you like. But usually I put about, for this amount of meat, which is about 10 pounds, I usually put about 3 onions and about 3 big potatoes, and that's usually enough. All right. Okay, now time for what I consider it to be the hard part, making a nice crust, rolling it out nicely and make sure it's flaky. So I started with 6 cups of all-purpose red rose flour, and then a package of tender flake, like so, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Now I broke up the lard, and now I use this here little patente to break it up. And if you don't know what it's called, it makes 2 of us, so or 3 or 4. So anyways, you can get this at Canadian Tire or anywhere else. Okay, so I start cutting it up. Did you wash your hands? Good. So you cut it all up. Takes a bit of patience and a little bit of work. forget that you're doing this for, once they're all done, you're going to give some to family, some to friends. I usually give many to old couples who are alone. I have a couple friends who their wives passed away, and they're spending their Christmases alone. So I get one for them, and gives them a little bit of joy for Christmas. So you cut this up. There's also one of my friends now. He's on respirators, so I give one to him also. My wife gives some away too. So out of the 10 or 12 that I make, about 6 of them are given away, and the rest I eat with my family if they show up. There's always a competition in the family on who makes the best tourtières. Ma tante Tampon used to make her tourtière with just beef or just pork, and it was good. And then I have another aunt who would mix it up with half beef, half pork, and then maybe throw in a little bit of mousse, and that was very nice too. My mom thinks she makes the best tourtières. I don't think so. I think I do. Nobody's told me that they didn't like it, but nobody asked me for a second pie either. Bon, ben c'est bien important de mêler ça comme tel. Faut que ça soit consistant, faut qu'il y ait des morceaux de gras qui existent, parce que c'est ça qui fait que la croûte va être flaky, comme on dit en anglais. So to have a nice flaky crust, don't overwork this. You still have to see little chunks of lard in the flour. So that's coming along pretty good. So I do this at Christmas time for some reason. It's traditional. So if I don't do it, I sort of feel like I've missed out on Christmas. So how's that look? Looks pretty good. So before we do the rolling of the crust, make sure that your countertop is very, very clean. If you have long hair, you might want to put a hairnet on. And it's a good idea to wash your hands more than once. If you don't remember how to wash your hands, back up the tape and you can look at it again. Bon, ben c'est important d'être propre. Et puis c'est important de faire un bon effort pour quand on donne ça à nos amis qu'ils trouvent ça très plaisant. Okay, so we need to do a little mix for the batter, and what you do is you put 1 egg, like so, and cold water, about cup and a half, 2 cups. Got to be very accurate with this. So about yay much, and some vinegar, maybe about that much, not more. And we're good to go. This is what we use to mix in the batter. Let's go. Okay, so in the batter, you'll notice that I push all this aside and I make myself a little hole here. And then I'll put some liquid in there, like so. And then I'll bring some of the batter in. I start mixing it, and you'll see a nice texture. Once you're satisfied with the texture, don't overwork this, because the more you work at it, less flaky your crust will be. So I sort of like this here right now. Okay, so I'm going to take enough to make the bottom crust, maybe a little bit more. Okay, like so. Just aside. Put some flour down here. And grab the roller. I'll be right back. Okay, so you've got your roller. I usually put some flour on it so that it doesn't stick so much. And start rolling. The bottom crust I always do very, very thin, because I find that when it's the same thickness as the top one, it doesn't seem to cook properly. So I usually like to put it very thin, like so. So this is the way it works. Grab a pie. So I use one of those pies, put her in like so. There you go. Easy, eh? So let's now go put some filler into this. So for the filler, I usually use a spatula that doesn't have the holes in it, because I'll grab some of the meat with some of the fat that's at the bottom. Not too much, but just enough to give it a bit of consistency. So this is about how I like to put it. So there's a bit of fat in there, and there's, you know, a little bit of potatoes, and it looks pretty good. Bon, là on est prêt pour faire la croûte du top. And so I've got some more mixing to do, a little bit of liquid. Bring some of this in, make a nice, you know, something like this here. If it, like it's wet and it's dry, it's, I don't know. Okay, you make yourself a nice little ball, something like this here. And we put more this on the bottom, like so. So like I say, don't work it too much. The more you work it, the less flaky it'll be. So, and like I mentioned, this top crust is a little thicker than the bottom. So there you go. So put this in half. Okay, so once you've got her done, you can put little holes in there like so. And bring the pie over. Put her in here. And there you go. So we'll go around the edges with your thumb or whatever. Do all of this here. Don't forget you're doing this for a lot of sick people and all the old people, so do a good job, because they'll tell you. There you go. Isn't that pretty? And that's ready to cook. So repeat about 12 times and you can start cooking them. Une fois que ça c'est prêt, on va en faire, je vais en faire à peu près une douzaine. Et puis, on va tous les cuire en même temps. Alors on va continuer le procès. Now, I usually like to listen to Neil Young or Janis Joplin, or even a little bit of Eric Clapton while I'm doing this. I don't know why, it's a tradition. And I was asked, do you drink when you do this? Well, I can't drink wine because it'll probably give me a gout attack, but I usually have one rum with Coke. And so that's it for the fun part. So we get ready for another bottom crust. So that's, like I had mentioned, a little bit thinner. You got to watch your salt content in all of this. I don't put too much salt or anything, you know, because of a lot of people have heart problems like myself, so you don't want to aggravate it more than you have to. So we'll do another nice bottom. So I'm just going to do this one more time, and then we'll break till the end when we start cooking. I think we cook at 400. I don't really remember. If you remember, the bottom crust is a little thinner. That's just so it'll cook better. So bottom one doesn't have to look perfect, but the top one does. I figure there's about maybe a pound or maybe 3/4, well, a little closer to a pound of meat altogether in each tourtiere. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Looks pretty good. And the only way you can put your fingers in there is if you washed your hands. If you don't know how to wash your hands, go back and I showed you a while ago. Alors, un autre de fait, on va faire la croûte du top. On met un peu de liquide. Et puis, comme j'ai mentionné, on ne travaille pas ça trop. Parce que plus qu'on travaille, moins que la croûte va être, j'ai pas de mot français, mais flaky en anglais. J'aimerais savoir plus de mots en français, je les perds avec le temps. Voilà, c'est un bout de Paris. Ok. On va avec ça. For those of you who watched the Lions Telethon on the weekend and donated, thank you very much. As you know, all the monies that we collected, which was about 11,000 this year, that goes towards the food bank, and it's to help them, you know, put food on the table for a lot of our citizens that aren't as lucky, who are very poor. So I've been a Lions member for close to 40 years now, and I remember at one point we used to deliver the food baskets directly to their homes, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of unfortunate people out there. So if you haven't had a chance to give anything at the food bank, you know, drop by and give them something. You know, when's the last time you went to a restaurant and had a great meal? Probably cost you about 80 bucks. Well, give 80 bucks. It won't hurt you, and it will go a long way to somebody's Christmas. There you go, got another one. Bon, ben moi, je vais continuer ça tranquillement. Et puis, mais qu'on revient, on va commencer à cuire.
Ah, il a déjà passé, tu as quasiment.
Bon, ben, c'est pas mal prêt. On va mettre les mitaines. Ça, j'ai cuit les tourtières à 400. Puis je regarde jusqu'à temps qu'ils tournent brunes. Quelque chose comme ceci. Et puis là, mais ils ne sont pas tout à fait cuites jusqu'au bout, mais sont cuites assez pour, quand c'est bien le temps de les réchauffer, mais là, ils vont brunir encore plus. Alors, comme j'ai mentionné en anglais, la banque alimentaire a vraiment besoin des fonds. Alors, si vous êtes capable, faites un gros effort, puis donnez-leur des fonds, parce qu'avec les fonds, ils peuvent acheter plus de manger que nous autres, on achète quand on va en ville. Alors, merci d'avoir regardé mon vidéo, et puis je vous souhaite bien de la chance. Appelez-moi pas si ça ne marche pas, OK? So in English, don't call me if it doesn't work. You take your chances. All right, thanks. Okay, time for a taste. Flaky. Looks good. I like to eat my tortillas with beets and ketchup. I think it's a tradition. So I love tortillas. Tortillas give you a chance to, I don't know, get back to your family and say hello to old friends, especially the ones that you miss and the ones that you don't see anymore. It gives you an opportunity to meet your family again. Sometimes you don't see your brothers or sisters for years. You can use a tortilla as a peace giving, peace offering for Christmas. So, j'aimerais ça vous donner un beau merci et puis joyeux Noël de tous mes amis et puis surtout mes amis sur Facebook qui me donnent une chance de partager leur vie et de moi partager la mienne. Ça me fait chaud au cœur de voir comment est-ce que le monde, comment est-ce qu'il y a du bon monde sur la terre et puis comment est-ce qu'il y a des belles choses qui se font partager. So please, once again, like I've seen poverty and I've seen people who are struggling, and if you can give some money, not just food, but some money to the food bank, it's really, really well appreciated, and there's a huge need for it. So let's have a little taste here. I've had better, and you can go on the internet and get all kinds of recipes. It's a beautiful tradition from Quebec, I believe, and they used to be made out of just pork, and then they got fancier and fancier. A lot of people put spices and all kinds of stuff in. It depends what you like. I like it very, very simple. So thank you, and joyeux Noël, et puis hope you enjoyed this.